There you go. We're live. So yeah, we will wait and see. We'll wait for the audience to build up and see what happens. Otherwise, it's you and me having a lovely chat. We can talk about Droitwich, everything you've done in the community there. So what's the latest thing you're up to in Droitwich and the community?
So I'm chairman of a group called Droitwich Means Business, and got quite a good relationship with the district council, who are very engaging, to be fair, and the chairman's quite open to kind of improving the area. And so we managed to get access to their community grant funding. So we're going to put a cabin next to the high school, which will be accessible for the kids during the day, but then also accessible for adult learning and education in the evening. So it's been a really nice process to be part of, to be honest. So yeah, that's been quite useful.
Brilliant. There you go. There you go. You've got some people now. You're happy. You've got a smile on your face. Hi, Andrew. You didn't need to worry. Hi, Andrea from Perth. Is it sunny in Scotland today? Hi, Rav. Thanks very much for joining us. Nice to have you on here. How's Windsor? You're out with the Queen today? Out on the boats? So thank you, Andrea. I don't need to ask that question whether you can hear me loud and clearly. Hi, Simon. How's it in Wales today? Sun's shining. I spoke to somebody in Wrexham earlier and it was pouring with rain. Talk of the person I spoke to earlier. Hello, the nicest lady in Wrexham and also supplier-wise. Hi, Samantha. Thanks for joining us. It's not sunny in Perth today. Sorry. So you're not on the golf course yet, Andrea? Playing at Leven. What's it like in Droitwich? Were you in Droitwich or Worcester today, Matt?
I mean, Droitwich office, yeah, just looking out, it's a bit cloudy, to be honest, but that's perfect for a ginger. So, yeah, it's my kind of weather.
Good. It stopped raining in Wrexham now. We're okay. Hi, Jeremy Tyler. Thank you. We're going to talk about, actually, we've got Mr. Implementer on the Facebook Live today. So Jeremy's part of my mastermind group. We had a session at 7 o'clock this morning and he's already done. I'm going to call him a new Matt Nicol. The job advert is now out there. No messing about.
Good.
Okay, so thanks everybody for joining us today. I'm delighted that Matt Nicol from Nicol & Co, aka Mr. Implementer, which we will talk about, has joined me today. Matt worked through the ranks to run an independent estate agent during the recession to 2009. Then he left to set up a very successful Nicol & Co in Droitwich and Worcester, which I know very well. My sister-in-law lives there and always visiting and trying to pop in and say hello to Matt. You set it up in 2009. You've got, I think, 3 offices now. Rumour has it.
Very, very close. Yes, we've got a building that we're in the process of purchasing in Malvern. So we will be before the year is out. We'll be in 3 locations. But okay. we've got a sales manager already acting for us in Malvern and working in Malvern. So taking instructions and doing it from our Worcester location. Sorry, I don't have my camera there. Yeah, so 2.
You're trying to make yourself look tall again, aren't you?
I don't know what happened then. I went sideways. Yeah, it's like a side swipe. But yeah, we'll have a 3rd. We'll be in Malvern by the end of the year.
Good, brilliant. Hi, Callum. So Callum's joining us from Edinburgh today. Nice to see you. Hi, Chris, joining us from, I keep on getting it wrong, but somewhere in Sussex, West Sussex. So thanks for joining us. Nice to see you all. So Matt, tell us a little about your journey to becoming an MD. Obviously you run a really successful agency. You get things done. Oh, even Sarah Edmondson's on here as well. We're honoured. Yes, Rab, Sean Adams is Mr. Implementer, but Matt Nicol is also Mr. Implementer. We share some stories.
Share the title. My journey then. So yeah, 2004, I became an estate agent. I started out as a junior negotiator, which I guess you'd kind of class as an apprentice nowadays. And what a brilliant way to kind of come into the industry, really, to learn back in the days where there weren't computers, when you had big A3 sheets, which were your diary. And all your viewings were kind of booked within that diary. Great experience for me, great company. They spent a lot of time and invested a lot of money on training, which I think was great for my growth. And they saw within me the kind of the drive to work through the ranks. So I very quickly became a valuer and then an assistant branch manager. 2008, came, and obviously it was a tough old time, but I was thinking of moving and setting up on my own, and they pulled me in and said, Matt, you'd be bonkers to go and do it now. You've just got into the toughest part of the market. Stay with us. We'll make you branch manager, and you'll obviously have the security of a job rather than setting up your own. It was the right thing to advise me of. I was 24 at the time, so I needed someone to give me that advice. Rode it out with them, the 1 branch out of 7 to finish in profit. And I kind of said to them in, I think it was probably March, April time in 2009, I think my time's now come that I can set up on my own. Saw the market turning back on, and we left on great terms, and then I set up on my own. So opened the doors officially October 2009 in Droitwich, which is where I went to school, where I played rugby, my old stomping ground really. It's where I've got my wife and family. We live here now, and my kids. And it's been a great journey. Started off 1-man band, so literally me in a little office, putting a sign on the door to go out and do appointments at the beginning, and then very quickly grew it to the beast that it is now. We've got 34 members of staff, as you said, 2 locations currently. We've also got a HQ, so we've got another floor that we rent that has got things like our client relationship centre and a few other bits in there, and the 3rd office is coming soon. So that's my journey, and I'm enjoying it still now as I did when I first started selling properties in 2004.
I love your passion. Love your passion. Hi, Lucy, twice. Thank you for joining us today. Nice to see you on here. Lucy and I used to work together at Green and Company many years ago. So welcome,
she'll have
Lucy.
Some stories on you then.
Oh, horrendous stories. I think I'm going to ban her now from putting any of them down there. Hi, Michael. Thanks for joining us as well. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, and I'm really grateful, because a week ago we launched Agents Together, which is a charity, and we were looking for mentors. And as soon as that came out, one of the first people to put their name down was yourself, which we're really grateful for. So what made you decide to apply to become a mentor at Agents Together?
So I found out about it through a webinar with ICG, which was chaired by Christopher Watkins, and I think he's a founder member like yourself. And it's the first time I actually kind of heard about it. And I just think, in answer to your question, it's such a brilliant idea, something that, COVID-19 or not, there's a lot of tough times in estate agency, and sometimes you do need a bit of support. That doesn't have to be, like the junior negotiator that I used to be that needed a bit of guidance from above. It could be managers who are going through struggles, stresses, directors, leaning down on them all the time. They feel like they're doing a good job, but they don't know that they have got, actually everything in a row, all the ducks in a row. So I just felt that it would be a great opportunity for me. I'm in a position with the business where I've got a brilliant sales team, great lettings team, new homes are self-sufficient. I do have the time available for my staff, which is obviously where I spend a lot of my time training them. But I've got time available to give up to others as well. And I think just during this kind of lockdown period, I've been invited on a number of things. I've been, honoured to be invited. I feel very privileged to have been invited on things like Write Me webinars and this, things like that. So if there is any good I can do, I'm quite happy to give some time up for it. And when you go through the application process and it asks how many hours you're willing to give, I'll give as many hours as required for someone that needs it. If I'm honest with you, I had to select one, but I'm happy to support as much as I can. So I'm looking forward to being part of the journey in any which way I can.
That's amazing, thank you. And I know our CEO Sarah's on here, and she says thanks so much for applying to become a mentor, Matt. So we're really grateful, and we're really excited, and it's building momentum. And we had a meeting last night, and I think there's been over 80 applications, so it's really exciting. Our first forum's up there, so if you're on here, go to the agentstogether.co.uk, have a look at the forum, join in, comment on there. And next week at 1 o'clock, I think we've got our first webinar on wellbeing with a lady called Jo Hemmings, who is definitely worthwhile looking up or Googling. You'll find some interesting things on her, but she's a behaviour psychologist, and that's going to be exceptional. So looking forward to that. Hi, Andy Overman. Thank you for joining us.
I've got good memories of Andy Overman's 2014. We were at the State Agency Awards, and he went up as Manager of the Year, and I still remember it to this day. He became a celebrity to me in that moment when he got called up to be Manager of the Year. I still remind him when I see him.
He's an exceptional agent, Mr. 2%er. Mr. 2%er. Hi, Owen. How are you? Thanks for joining us today. You've gone a bit radio silent on me. I want to know what's going on, please, in the last 2 days. Thank you. you're being held accountable by everybody on here now, Owen. Okay, no excuses. So, obviously we've been through, we're still going through COVID-19. What lessons have you learned, and what actions have you taken as a result of it, please?
Lessons learned, ignore the media, because I think you can spin yourself into a bit of a tiz by watching everything that's going on in the news. From the outset, I've felt pretty calm, which I guess is a very nice position to be in. But that's because I've really focused on my squad and what was important to my team, really, as opposed to what I can't change. So I've spent time watching Boris's announcements, but other than that, just spending time with the team. We were in the process of rolling out what we've called our blueprint, and it couldn't have been timed any better. So I know there's a few books mentioned in the last one of these lunchtime learnings, but Traction by Gino Wickman, the Vision Traction Organizer, we have renamed as the Blueprint, and it made us really focus. So months leading up to COVID-19 lockdown, we'd already set out our structure for where we want to be in 10 years, what our 10-year target was, what our 3-year goals were, and all those plans and core values and focus. So we sat down with the team probably about 3 weeks into the lockdown, and we made a big effort to make sure everyone knew where we were going to be, not just obviously COVID-19 related, but just where we as a company are going to be in 10 years from now. And the staff loved it. They had some clear kind of guidance, which I think at those times when they hear of obviously a lot of staff being furloughed and uncertainty in the press about what's going on with house prices, it probably gave them a really, really strong place to aim at. And that's what we tried to do. I guess there was moments for me that I kind of inwardly thought, is this going to be okay? I didn't furlough many of my staff. Most of my staff stayed on working from home. 20 plus were working. So obviously all the overheads that you incur when you're willing to do that. And I'm glad to say that I pinned my ears back and the guys pinned their ears back, and they did a great job. And now we're out the other side and enjoying the benefits of that. We have done a lot with our business. We've changed it significantly. Stuff we probably changed in a year, we've changed within 60 days. And when you say Mr. Implementer, that has its positives, but it also has its negatives as well. Because for teams, there's a lot of things that come in, but I think the good thing is that I'm used to bringing in change, and the guys are used to me bringing in change, always with the caveat that if it didn't work, we'll go back to what did work before. And I've never that driven that I'm saying it's this way or nothing. Like, we'll look at it. If it works, it carries on. If it doesn't, then we can obviously change back. But I have their buy-in. I think that's an important thing as a director for a company like this, quite ambitious, grown quite quickly in 11 years or nearly 11 years. But they do support us. They know that we've made some great decisions. They know we made some bad ones, but they do support us and involving them, consulting with them. And lockdown made me do that more than ever, because I could just jump on a Zoom with everyone. We had, I don't know if you knew this, but we had training sessions booked in. So we split the company into 3 colours: purple, green, obviously our colours, and red. Purple team across the business, so letting, sales, new homes, admin, whatever. They do a training session on a Monday and a training session as a company on a Friday. So we had like a PT doing Zoom sessions, all of these little things we would never normally do, but it just gave us that opportunity, and it meant the team came together massively. So I think the lockdown, dare I say, has been good for us. I think it's been a real good session for our team to come together.
Wow, I've got so many questions just from that short answer. So I'm going to come back to that. Let's welcome Matthew from Devon. Thanks very much for joining us. Sarah, great advice, Matt. Since I stopped watching the news and focus on what I controlled, life and business has been so much better. I mean, we had a guy on here, Paul McGee, who was exceptional. He calls CNN constant negative news. So, and it's all about not watching that. Sherlock says hello. She's desperate to come in and be on the live. So Andrea, the dogs are barking today, and we're also joined by Viking Royalty. So thanks, Christian, for joining us today.
I enjoy his sweaty headshots he puts out each morning. He looked like he had a good session this morning. Yeah,
and so we have now been joined by the dog. So you're going to hear a lot of barking. So I may have to leave you in a second to let her back out. Okay. So it's nothing like a proper Facebook Live. There you go. Having a bed. Hold on a second, Matt. You talk to the audience.
Okay then. Well, there's a bit of pressure on me. I don't normally do Facebook Lives anyway.
There you go. I'm back.
Oh, they are. That's good.
in and out, make it more real. She's going to come back in a minute. I can hear her scratching. Nothing like everybody else is still in bed. It's terrible, isn't it? No, they're all studying. They're all homeschooling upstairs. That's what they tell me anyway. So one of the things you talked about and what was really interesting, we had a fantastic guest last week, Vicky, and you mentioned her books. So I want to come back to you on your books as well. We can talk about, but you talked about having a 10-year goal and also a 3-year goal. And I know that Vicky has that, and Asad doing their business. Why do you think it's so important to have a vision?
I think it's important for us as kind of leaders. So the leadership team kind of know where we want to get to, but the 10-year target that we have is made easier if we do hit our 3-year plan, and then if we bring it back to our 1 year, and actually we break it down into 90-day rocks. And this isn't anything that I've come up with; it's taken from the Vision Traction Organizer. But we're doing these 90-day sprints, and as you do those 90-day sprints, that year target gets knocked off, and then we're very close to the 3-year target. It's a really great process to go through as directors, and we weren't expecting to go into lockdown and to need this and rely upon it quite so much, but the timing of us, myself, Neil, and my father Richard, who's a group FD, the timing of us going and having 2 days away from the business to work on the business like this, it was 2 months before we went into lockdown, but the timing of us doing that was absolutely perfect, because we're all guilty of being busy. I know I could spend more time in Land and New Homes and make more money for the company because I might have a relationship with a developer that leads to something, but that's not me anymore. I've got a great team that can do that. I'm better off spending my time with the staff and training them to improve and get better. And you have to kind of just delegate a bit, come away from it, and break it down. So we broke down the numbers. We told them financially where we expect to be. That we set it as a vision, not we hope to be. It's like we are going to be doing X million pounds, and it's going to be made up of sales doing this much, Land and New Homes doing this much, and our lettings team doing this much. And it was very clear that they could all look to each other and say, okay, so we know what we need to do then to make sure that happens. As I say, the timing of it, I think, was pretty important. If it hasn't been done yet for anyone that's watching this, it's worth getting involved in it. We've actually just come into the end of our first 90-day rock. So we met this morning, me and my directors, and we've got plans now to bring in the next 90-day rocks. And it's nice that we've actually achieved the things that we set out to do in those first 90 days. So yeah, it's a good book. It's easy to read. Get on Audible, which is my route normally because I listen to it whilst I'm running. And it's nice. It goes in.
Okay, so it was Traction, and who was it by, please?
Gino Wickman, Gino Wickman.
Lovely. Okay, thank you. So talking about books, what others have stayed in your mind that have really helped your business?
Well, my library is to the side of me here, and actually there's very similar ones to the ones that Vicky said. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, that's going to be one. The E-Myth, I've given most of them out. Cut to the Chase is a good one. That's a very, very short and easy one to go through. It's 99 different things to do, and they're kind of a page each. I'm a big fan of Josh Vegan. Lonely in Business is something that he released, one of his earlier books. I think they are probably the main ones. I'm not a reader, if I'm honest with you, Stephen. I tend to be on the laptop till late at night, and so I'm not finding the time to read. So I do Audible books just to make it easier. But I think there's a great resource there. We probably talk about kind of the different things that I do to improve myself. And Audible, well, what a game changer! The podcast that I can listen to with your sultry tones on it, and
that must send you to sleep whilst running. I'm surprised you haven't been run over and you're here.
No, not at all. No, I thoroughly enjoy it, but it's making use of that time. I like to watch a bit of telly. My missus likes to watch the odd Netflix box set, and I want to be involved in that process as well. So it's nice to switch off sometimes. So reading's not always possible, but it doesn't stop you from being able to kind of really take it on. I love coming into work early, getting into 7:30, working, smashing through my emails, but just having my phone next to me, just playing it. And that it still goes in. It's useful. So yeah, Asad, you're right. Traction is a cracker. It's a great book.
Yeah, thank you for joining us, Asad. Welcome, Paul Morgan. Thanks for joining us as well. So, where do we keep on going? So, giving us the books, 90-day sprints. What do you do with prospecting then? Because for me, what you do in the next 30 days is going to impact what happens in the next 90 days. So is that part of one of your rocks?
It is, but we actually have a separate division now. So we have the CRC, which is our client relationship specialists, and our client relationship centre. So we employ, there's one currently, but it's set up to have up to 4. And her role within the company is to do constant prospecting. So all the anniversary calls, as you've always recommended, sending out the cards, all of those items are being done on a daily basis. It also offers a bit of backup and support so that if call overflow is needed, then she's there to back it up. I shouldn't say she, her name's Molly. She's fantastic. She's an absolute trooper. The amount of market appraisals she's booked in is phenomenal. And the hit rate, the conversion on them is also very good. She reports into me. So that's quite nice that she kind of has, she works for all the departments. So she supports all the teams, but we have a close relationship. She's in the St. George's Square, which is the top floor office I was talking about. And it's proven its worth. So she'll do things like chasing market appraisals the day after to see how they're done. She'll contact all applicants that registered the day before, make sure we haven't missed any opportunities in terms of finances, conveyancing, new homes. And the daily task is obviously to speak to those people that moved a year, 2 years, 3 years ago, and do a property health check. And actually it's quite nice because that's allowing us to now bring staff through the ranks, because I remember when I wanted to become a valuer for the property centre who I used to work for, and I speak very highly of them, a great firm, I had to do a certain number of measure ups before I could be a valuer, which you kind of look back and think measuring up a property is not really what you need to do to become a valuer. I mean, measuring up's just a sideline job really more than anything. But we're going to be able to give our staff a platform where they can get into that environment where they're speaking to a vendor about the value of their asset, but not having to do the full pitch. So I've got training with a member of staff this afternoon. He's probably done about 4 property health check training sessions with me. And I said today we're recapping. Tomorrow he's doing one for a complete role play from start to finish. And then we take the stabilizers off and he's going to get out and start doing property health checks. And that is meaning for his journey. He's a year in with us. That's for his journey. He's then going to become a valuer, but not straight chucked in. He's going to go into it in a better route. So yeah, prospecting is very important, Stephen. I remember the day that you came in and told all our staff and showed us how to do it. And it's been vitally important to us ever since.
Okay, so I love what you said. Professionals practice before they play. You know, Roger Federer doesn't turn up thinking I'm going to win another Grand Slam. He's practicing 6 to 8 hours a day to be where he wants to be. You know, one of the top tennis players in the world. So training's really interested, and obviously it's very close to my heart. So you've got a training academy that you started, is that right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's running as I would hope. If I'm honest with you, we bought it in beginning of last year, and you know, staffing has changed since. Many of the people that joined it initially are still with us. Some of them have now gone. And actually, I found, if I'm very honest with you, people prefer one-to-one training with me. And I think the benefit of Zoom means that, I mean, I'm working from home tomorrow. I've got 2 kids, so they won't be barking, but they'll be coming in and out. But I've got 3 training sessions, but they're pretty much either one-on-one or small groups. And I think that is really our journey for staff now, that they feel that they kind of almost have that bond with another member of staff who's going through the same process as them, rather than as my plan. And we brought them all to the Troy Malcolm, the first session that you put on in Birmingham. We had a minibus of 11 staff in there, but what one person needs, another's not going to really take on. And I couldn't train all 11 in one go. So now and we have blue meetings every month, which is our managers meeting, and each managers meeting, it's to their managers. I'm saying, so who would benefit from an hour of training, and what does it need to be? Can we put 2 people together? Can we kind of buddy them up? So the academy, the way we branded it and all that, if I'm honest with you, is one of those implementer ideas I haven't continued, but the sentiment is there that whilst it's not badged as the academy, the training is still crucially important. And actually now having Zoom, we're recording it as well. So that for me is quite good, that we've kind of got it to refer back to.
And you've got a library now.
Exactly. Well, we're building it up. We've got, as you talk about implementation, but one of my newest members of staff, she's probably been with us about 6 or 7 months. She's brought in this people HR dashboard, and so everything can be made available to any member of staff, and they've got apps on their phones so they can jump in and link to it. So really useful that they, in their own time on a Sunday afternoon, if they had a couple of hours spare and they wanted to, they can jump on and do it themselves, as long as we adapt it. You know, if some new tech comes in that we're going to start using, we talk about it, we show, you know, how it's changed, then that's crucial, I think, for us.
And why do you think training is so important and played such an important part in your business?
I think I see personally the benefits of myself training. Like I'm seeing that I'm improving still. You know, I could feel a bit old hat 16 years into the job, running a business. I could, you know, take it a little bit easier now, but every day I'm still learning, and I see that I get better. I pick up lines that you'll have in your conversations, some that Andy's come out with in previous podcasts. That I know if I put that into a conversation with a developer, I'm going to get a different result. And I think your staff within your team need to have that open mentality that training will improve you. And no matter what position in the company, whether you're an ops director, a managing director, or even an administrator, you know, any role in between anywhere, you've got to continue with that training mentality.
For me, I'm learning. Every day's a learning day. You know, I still go out. I'm listening to books on I'm trying to do 10,000 steps before 10 o'clock every day. And whether I have walking is my office. So, you know, whether it's speaking to people or listening to audio books or listening to podcasts, there are so many free information out there that can really help you, that can really improve. But it's all about taking action. So again, you know, you said you like implementing. I know you and Sean Adams are the kings of implementation. You know, what makes you, you know, because there's some people out there, you know, and there may be people out on here today, you know, I'm really grateful for them joining us today, that they come along, they've listened to all these webinars, and then they just put their book and they put it in the top drawer and that's it, and they don't do anything. You know, why have you thought, you know, why do you implement? Why are you such a great implementer? And how long do you give it? I mean, you talk about, is it a good idea? It's a bad idea. You know, done beats perfect. So at least you're taking action.
Yeah.
But why do you think it's so important?
I think a good routine to get into, if you've had any kind of training or if you watched a webinar or something like that, you need to kind of consult with the people that were in it with you and say, is that something that we need to be doing, and how do we bring it in? So consult with your team to make sure it does feel like the right fit. What someone presents as a great idea that works perfectly for their business might not be suitable for another. So you've got to be up for that kind of conversation and be honest with each other. Don't put anything in, and I know I put things in quickly, but almost take a bit of time to consider whether it is something your business needs. And just now we've got something that we're going to bring in, but it's been 6 weeks in the process. I rolled it out to everyone in the blueprint, so they all heard the idea. They've all got the concept and the thing that we're going to do. But I've taken 6 weeks to really mull it over and chew it through to make sure that it is going to be a perfect fit for our business. It's a service that we want to add in that we think is not there at the moment. But it's another thing that a valuer needs to be aware of, another thing that a neg needs to be aware of. We need to make sure that we don't just bash those things in. Some things, if I get excited about it, then Stephen, I'm going to push and get it through quickly anyway. There's certain things. I mean, you know, it's not rocket science to do prospecting in the morning, you know, 45-minute burst conversations, those things. Okay, it might be alien to some members of staff, but if you block out your diary till 11 o'clock every morning, you can get all the important calls done, and then you can go off and do your thing that earns the money in the afternoon as well. Like it's those you just need to kind of say, this is what we're going to do. We're going to roll it in. And then actually, if you find that there's the odd situation where a potential vendor must have a valuation at 10:30, talk to your manager, run it by him. You know, we're not saying it can't be done, but so he's got a great opinion there.
He agrees. Sherlock's agreeing with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody's finally come downstairs to let her out.
Oh, yeah.
And now they're both at it.
Oh, that's fine. So, you know, we bought in a lot of things. CRC, we knew there's a benefit to the business. Yes, there's a cost there. Yes, we've had to take up more space. Yes, we've had to buy more kit and more hardware. But we recognise that if it delivered more instructions or more valuations initially, which turned into instructions, then it's paying us back. And now we're in a position where we've gone from 1 member of staff to want to grow it to up to 4 members of staff. And we're a business that's only been going for 11 years. So our database is good, 25,000 probably on the database roughly. You know, heaven forbid, if I was a 30-year agent now, we've been trading for that long, I'd have probably 16 people working in the CRC. So, yeah, the opportunities are there.
100%. So a couple of questions. Hi, Russell. Thank you for joining us. Andrea, do your staff sit accredited exams qualifications?
We've actually, during this year, put it to them if they would like to. So we had to bring a structure in. I think most employers would probably consider, you know, you train staff up to become better. you want to retain them. So, you know, you don't want to improve them and then for them to think that there's another opportunity somewhere else that's better for them. So we have brought in the process now. They're just about to go through NAEA and ALA. But we've made sure they're committed to it, because the last thing we want to do is spend all the money, buy all the books, then find that they're not fully committed to it. And also it's a by choice offering. We're not enforcing it, because some people do have lives outside of work that meant that they can't give as much time to it. And it's no negative on them if they don't put themselves forward for it. I think, Andrea, I should also be doing it as well, to kind of show some faith and show willing. They haven't asked me to, but I just think that as a leader, probably you should be bucking in. Much like, as I said, kind of being a junior neg all the way through to becoming a director. The benefit of that, being a pot washer through to a head chef, you've done all the jobs, you've experienced everything they've gone through, you've had all those NAF calls where you've got to tell a vendor that buyer's pulled out, but then you've got to kind of G them up to get them sold again, and pick them up off the floor when they're upset and things like that. I think it's useful for me to have gone on the journey.
So what I want to know is that breaking news that Matt Nicol has put his name down, that he is now going to be doing NAA Property Mark.
Yeah, if someone will give me a free book, I'll do it. It's a real shame. Obviously, COVID-19 caused a lot of problems for very many people, and you know, obviously, I'm feelings for everyone that's lost a loved one and had problems as a result. But we just didn't get the books in quick enough, so it really kind of went against us, because we had a lot of staff, as I said, that we didn't furlough. And I was doing as much training as I could with them, and they were making their own phone calls, but it would have been an opportunity where I know a lot of those staff would have really put their head in the book and gone for it. But it's one of those timing things. You can't have it always. So yeah, it was a shame, but they see the benefit in it. And I hope, because of the way that we do teach them, that actually a lot of it will come naturally to them. So me put my hand up for it. I'm not going to not revise. I'm still going to obviously want to make sure I smash it, but I do hope that my natural instinct to a lot of what I've been doing has been best practice, and therefore I should hopefully pass. I'll let you know.
With flying colours.
I wasn't going to say that. I was just going to say pass. Not putting more pressure on myself.
Vicky, thanks for joining us as well. So Vicky says, great structure. You have started using something called Gavel since I don't know, since maybe we come out of lockdown, or maybe just before. What is it, and is it making a difference to your business, and in what way? How's it work?
So Gavel is an app for estate agents to be able to do multiple viewings doing a live stream. We brought it in just before we were officially allowed to open the doors. So agents we recognised in our area were jumping the gun and showing people around properties, which was not safe to do so at the time, not being advised by the government as the right way to do it. So I wanted to look at opportunities and options of how we could open the business back up and how we could do things differently. I think most agents always think it's a numbers game. Let's get as many viewings as we can. Someone will buy it and the vendor will be happy. We wanted to be more efficient, so that's where the Gavel app stepped in for us. So it's an Australian piece of tech. I saw it through, I think it was a Josh Vegan webinar. Reached out to Gavel, and essentially what it does is you have an app on your phone. The estate agent turns up at the place. They would have set it up originally with a link out there and all the images of the property. Applicants would be invited to download the app and register to watch the property. The minute it goes live, they all jump in on the live stream. From an interaction point of view, from a consumer, they get a chat box on their screen so they can ask questions of the agent. So as the agent's walking around, they're looking at their screen, obviously seeing what the viewfinder is going to show them. And they've got all these questions coming up on the screen, so they can be answering those as they wander. Got a few kind of call to actions, people wanting to book physical inspections. And for me, it's been brilliant, because I think like most agents, we could have been massively busy fools coming back into this. Everyone wanted to view, which is great. Pent-up demand was there, which obviously goes against what the media were suggesting, but we could have been busy idiots. So we've had 147 live streams. We've had over 1,600 engagements, so that's people watching. And then we booked physical viewings afterwards, and the physical viewings will be in the region of about 400 to 450. So we've cut that number down. As John McGrath was saying when he was on with you last week, I think it was, this live stream technology or digital technology, I think is going to be here to stay. It's obviously it's safer right now. But actually, I think that if you can get the properties in front of consumers easier without them having to travel, aside from the fact that negotiators not standing outside a property for 75 minutes doing 15-minute interval viewings, they're doing one big one that includes everyone within it, and then they're booking physical inspections or physical viewings for people that have actually fallen in love with the property on a live stream. So it's been brilliant for us. I think it's meant now that we've got more time in the office, more time to prospect, more time to spend with our vendors on our valuations. Obviously, we can get better feedback for our clients because we've got 15 or 16 people in a 25-minute live stream telling us what they think about it. And then a better quality applicant afterwards, because if they've seen it on the live stream, fall in love with it on the live stream, they're kind of more engaged then. It's almost like a second viewing. And to be honest with you, I mean, we support Matterport. We've had Matterport tours. Talk about Mr. Implementer. We've had Matterport tours for the last 3 years. I've got a marketing assistant that does Matterport tours on all our stock. And my second ever live stream, because I chucked myself under the bus first, my second ever live stream, there was a potential vendor that watched it, and she said she'd seen a Matterport tour for the very same property, but she felt more involved in a live stream than she did in the Matterport. And the Matterport she could direct herself. With this, she told me where she wanted me to go, had to go back into the bathroom, had to go to the back garden, look back at the property. I did all these things just literally at their beck and call. And actually, I want to build up the brand, not for me, but I want to build up the agent's brand. And I think that they could almost become celebrities in their own right. If they're good on a live stream, and a member of the public who's thinking of having their property sold gets to then have them out to value their property, they're going to kind of almost feel like they know them already. So the early signs for me, if I wanted to save my staff time, I'm doing it. If I wanted to sell properties with less viewings, I'm doing it. And my staff love it. So it's a win in most areas for me.
Hi, Pete. Thanks for joining us. Big fan of Gavel.
He's another Gavel guy, yeah.
And more importantly, what about your vendors? What do they think about it?
They like it because I guess I'll go through both bits. The one thing that I think was their concern first was that we wanted to build up interest for a Gavel viewing. So we were doing it for 7 days after the property went live. But again, being a director that listens to the staff, we've adapted it now. So we're doing that within 3 days. So I think that what they didn't want to do is lose the opportunity where people that physically wanted to view straight away couldn't. We believe that the best route, as it's kind of recommended by the government, is virtual or video first before physical. So we brought it back to 3 days. They love that because we build up the interest, build up all the excitement for it, do the live stream straight off the back of it, book the physical viewings, and then within a week we have got physical viewings. They like it from the point of view of it's easier for them to, if they're living in it, live. Because if you've ever sold a property yourself, Stephen, I'm sure you sold a few. You're literally living in limbo. When you're trying to sell your own property, you're living in limbo. Okay, it's never really messy, but it's never really completely tidy because you're still living. But then you have to blitz it again just before a viewing takes place. And if you've got one every other day, you like your agent, don't get me wrong, but you get a bit frustrated by the end of it. So if they know that they need to get the place almost styled out and ready for a viewing, for a live stream, get everyone round on that first session, and then probably a number of viewings, but a smaller number of viewings. Everyone's time poor at the moment. I know a lot of people are working from home and stuff like that, but you still don't have enough hours in the day. So it helps out with that.
One of the things that I know you implemented, and I hope you don't mind me asking and talking about it, so I'm going to throw this in, is days on the market and getting your vendor sale ready, which I think is really, really important. What are you doing to get your days on the market down and actually to get your vendor sale ready? And I know you've been doing this for a long time, even pre-COVID.
Yeah, so we have a service called Ready to Sell. And when you hear our new thing that comes out in a month's time, once we've kind of rolled out to the staff next week, you'll see why they complement each other. So Ready to Sell is a service that we've helped over 700 vendors to move. And essentially what happens is I've got relationships with former conveyancing solicitors. It's a husband and wife team. It was husband first, then she retired because she could help us out as well. So our retired solicitors, they, on instruction from us, they go out and have a consultation appointment with each of our vendors, and they look at it through the eyes of a buyer's solicitors. So they will go out and organise a pack of information that essentially most vendors' solicitors would be opening on the day of instruction, but we're doing it in advance. So people are going to be ready to sell. So it includes property information form, fixtures and fittings form, leasehold details, guarantees, warranties, the title plan. They would have walked the boundary of the property, see if there's any discrepancies, looked at things like extensions they put on, has it got all the right paperwork, and they essentially tackle all that information then. We then get an envelope into our office, so we look after them, the title and all those bits and pieces, so that on the day that it actually gets sale agreed, we deliver a memorandum of sale and the actual package of information to their solicitors. So their vendors are ready to send a contract from day dot. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't happen every time. We've got 4 recommended solicitors that engage it, love it, and we've got some others that kind of almost think that we're stepping on their toes by doing their work. But if they really reflect on it, we're doing a lot of good for them. So that should save at least 2 weeks of the first bit, where normally vendor instructs solicitor, they get written to by their solicitor asking for ID and answers to all these items, obviously the standard sheets and paperwork they have to go through, sits on a coffee table for a couple of days, then gets the weekend, they start it, then they have to go and find something, they leave it for a couple more days. We cut all of that out. And actually what we have done is we've saved some of our clients a lot of stress, because we've tackled the problems that would have definitely come up during the conveyancing process, but we've tackled them before we've started doing viewing. So there's bits where leasehold property, they've not submitted accounts for 2 years and things like that. They got their own shares of freehold and they cause these problems. There's the Crown had the freehold on a property or the lease on a property. There's just loads of problems that are just we've spotted. And the positive to our clients is that there's no cost to them. So we're not charging our vendors any extra for this. You talk about Andy being a 2% agent. Well, we're not a 2% agent. We charge a fair fee that we feel covers a lot of our costs, and 2% would be a fair fee in our area. But we include a lot for our service: Matterport tours, live streams now, CRC, sales progression, all those items. And yeah, the knock-on effect as a business is that we do bring our average transaction time down. Still not to anything that I would be really pleased with. I used to do my own sales progression as a neg, and it seemed to be a lot quicker back then. But there's a lot of moving parts now, and unfortunately, it's not made it any quicker.
Okay, so I thought we were going to get an exclusive there as to what's coming out in the next month. No, lips are sealed, hey?
I'll be happy. I'll be very happy to share it. I am actually another person I kind of watch and read is Simon Sinek, and I do feel that there is certain things that should be shared, and I've got no reason to make it feel like it's exclusive. That infinity mindset is there for me, but I just want to get it up and running first. So that's kind of where I really want to get it first, tried and tested, and you'll all be first to know about it.
I was trying.
I'd love to run it by you though, Steve. I'd love to get your thoughts on it. I have consulted with a number of agents and people that I've spent time with over the years, because I wanted them to critique it for me and pick any holes in it. But I do think it's an opportunity to make more business for ourselves, i.e. get more instructions. And actually it's solving a problem that I'm going to say too much in a minute. It's solving a problem. It's solving a problem that's definitely there. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay.
You can do your pregnant pause. I won't talk.
Okay. Yeah. It's going to be a long 5 minutes now, keeping quiet. So Andrew has asked, has a quicker conveyancing system reduced for your fall through rate?
Yes, I would. I wish I had statistics in my hand so I could refer to them now. We have been doing it for such a length of time now, so it's got to be getting on for 3 years now with 700 clients helped. That undoubtedly it has. And actually what we found is that the consultant, because they've helped the vendor come to the market, they've actually become almost their second pair of eyes on things as well. So if a vendor's instructed us, used us to set up their ready to buy, ready to sell pack, I just said too much. If our conveyancers set up the ready to sell pack, then they become almost their advisor. They're kind of an impartial. They've got over 40 odd years experience themselves, so they've helped out our vendors make decisions on their onward purchases as well. I'd love to have the statistic, and actually, Andrew, you're going to make me go off and find it, and I'll share it with Steve and what their fall through rate is currently, even including COVID-19 time. We'll give you that one as well, and dates prior to us bringing in the ready to sell as well.
What's very funny, before your Freudian slip, I'm writing notes down, and I've written down here, what about ready to buy? So, but we won't go into that because I think I know the answer.
25th. When's the 25th? That's where I roll it out to my staff. That's next Thursday.
Very soon.
It's not far away, but yes, ready to buy is the spin off to ready to sell. I knew you'd get me eventually, but but yeah, no, it's really exciting. And actually, when we did it as part of the blueprint, I was out of the company working with Richard and Neil, and they hadn't heard of it before. It's an idea that I came to them with, and you could just almost see the penny drop as I'd said it and explained it. And then when I did, here's Andy. And then when I did roll it out to the staff as part of our blueprint, and as I said, we did this during the lockdown on a Zoom, and everyone was involved in the same conversation. Again, like they all came off it thinking, yeah, that would work. So it is really exciting. You know, I don't want to get it wrong. I want to make sure it kind of works. We've grilled at our end, and I've taken 60 days, well, 30 odd days to really suss it out in my own head first. Presentation's been changed twice, consulted a couple of people in the industry to kind of get their thoughts on it. And I now feel like it's in a position where it's kind of oven ready and we can roll it out. So yes, Andy, I'll tell you all about it next week.
Right, couple of other questions. I know we started talking before people were on. Now we've got a wider audience. You do loads in the community. I think it's one of, from memory, it's rooted in the community.
Yeah.
So, you know, obviously we had Vicky on last week, and they do a fantastic job in the Stoke Newington community. So, you know, why are you so rooted in the Droitwich and Worcester and soon to be Malvern communities? Why do you think it's so important?
I think it's vitally important because as an industry, I think we've always obviously took a bit of flack in the past, but I think we've raised and risen above that now. And actually we have such an important part to play because we are speaking to all the different people, you know, first time buyers getting onto the ladder all the way up to the people that need to downsize. And we do have a good influence. For me, I've used, I think, to my advantage, the platform that we have as a community company. So in 2014, we raised 16.5 grand in a crowdfunding exercise to replace an arson attack play area. And that for us was where it began. We're now contacted for most of the items that go on within our area because one of our core values is that we're influential and we can be influential, and that's very important to us. So the park, it started 2014. We're obviously a drop-in, I say obviously, but we're a drop-in place for things like help the homeless, feed the homeless, you know, the Christmas period, we do the Christmas packages for them and all those bits and pieces. Right now in Droitwich, which is where I am a resident as well, I'm chairman of a group called Droitwich Means Business. So I pulled together other influential business leaders to have a positive impact. What we're trying to do, our strapline is that we're creating a connected community. So we're not working against the town council, we're working with the town council and also working with the district council. And we can kind of almost be that good guy in the middle that kind of helps. So like you, Stephen, I mean, you giving up your time every morning to speak to people. And I know obviously you need to get an income in for the Brown family. But you give up your time and actually the benefits that has for someone else is phenomenal. And it's exactly the same for us. There is no financial gain from getting involved in your community. It's an amazing feeling. It's brilliant when you know that you can have a positive impact. It does open the doors up for everyone to come to you. I mean, you become the source for everything, you know, not just finances, but also business brain or whatever it might be. But there's no negative to it. I haven't found a single thing that I've not said yes to, or if I haven't said yes to it, if it's a no, I put it to someone that I think would be better suited to sort that problem. So yeah, I think you could watch all the estate agents that are out there doing it, and some promote it better than others, and they might pick up instructions off the back of it. It's not about that necessarily, but do let people know you're there to support. And if you make a big thing about the fact that you will support, then it will go down really well in your local area, and you will be seen. You know, property experts is one thing to be, but rooted in your community, I think, is a very important part.
And it's fantastic what you've done. You know, I remember getting in touch with you. I think I sent you a congratulations card on what you've done when you raised for 16,500 for the spa. There is incredible.
Yeah,
and I mean,
that park is there now, and obviously it's been wrapped up because no one can go on it during this situation. But just one of my routes is running through the park, and it's the Lido Park. It's the central park that Droitwich has got, and the equipment is still there to be seen, and people still call us out for valuations and say, "Oh, I remember when Matt did that," and that was 2014. That's 6 years ago, almost to this day. Actually, it'll come up on my timeline soon that we started. So yeah, I got nominated for the Crowdfunder of the Year, Just Giving Awards, went down there as in the top 3. And you just kind of think, you know, all I did, if I'm very honest with you, was I was pissed off that morning when I'd seen it. I said, something's got to happen, something's got to be done about this. And one of my friends who became a vendor of ours contacted the radio station local to us. They got me onto it. I then started talking to them. And all of a sudden, crowdfunding started, and bosh, we'd had 16.5 grand raised within 20 odd days. The council consulted with me about what the equipment had to look like. I was like, I don't care. It's not. I'll put it out to the masses. I'm not going to use it. I'm a bit big for it. But my kids were at the right age to use it. But they did. They could see that connection piece, that we were in between the council, who were getting a load of ag because they didn't have it insured, because it wasn't worth insuring. The issue that was about to become a summer holiday, which you wouldn't imagine it is, it's raining here now, but it was about to become a summer holiday, so everyone's desperate for it to get in place real quick. And we were just in the middle. You know, we were very positive about what we needed in Droitwich, and a lot of the feedback you can still see on the Just Giving page on the crowdfunding. It's all about kind of, you know, you stirred this now, you've got the community behind it, and it's great that someone in the community is doing that. So that's enough reward. I mean, it's brilliant.
Brilliant. Well, you've been a fantastic guest. So one final question. Been in business now, what was it, 16 years?
Yeah.
What 3 lessons or 3 tips would you give people just coming into the industry today?
Be a sponge. Definitely be a sponge in terms of learning. And you don't need to pay for it. In most places, there's free resources. You know, your Facebook groups that you've got, Stephen, you've got a lot of great people in there that share a lot of their experiences. YouTube has been very, very good. I think Christopher Watkins, you know, is constantly churning out more and more information that is very, very useful. And portals like Rightmove also, they have the hub, which allows you to jump in. You can almost select out what you really want to learn. So that would be one thing. I'd say get up early. You could do 10,000 steps before 10 if you want to, but I think getting up early and doing something that gets you kind of physically going is important. And I've taken to jogging each morning. I don't feel like doing it at the end of the day. I've got a wife and 2 kids to see, so they don't really want to lose me at that point. So I get up before they all rise, and I go and do my bit. And again, that can kind of coincide with your learning, because there is an opportunity there to be able to listen to your voice as we run around the park as well. So obviously there's that opportunity. So getting up early. I don't know what the next one would be, actually. I don't think there's any merit in traditional versus hybrid. I think they've all got their pros and cons, if I'm honest with you. If I was to open again, I'd still do it traditionally. I'd still do it in a small office to begin with. I'd cut my cloth. I'd probably have very low overheads to start. And while some you do need to have, I wouldn't have flashy cars or anything like that. Exactly the same way I did it before, you know, and be very transparent. If I probably had my time over again, and I don't know what it would have done to my business, I probably would have put myself forward a little bit more for the video stuff that I now do more often. I don't know if that's just because as I've got older, I've got more confident and more comfortable doing it. We talked about kind of BA Masters being invited on stage to talk as part of the next generation. That for me was like, if you'd asked me that a year before, I'd have been saying get knotted, not a chance. But I felt like it was an exciting opportunity. And prior to that, probably the biggest group I'd spoken in front of was the year 13 leavers at Droitwich High School, and I had to give out some awards. So I would suggest that probably embracing the video in the digital age. Social media is definitely our friend. We've got over 3,000 people that follow us on Facebook, and we have to keep delivering good content. And you know, it could be our take on house prices, it could be our recommendations for what they should do with their property. But if you get seen to be the expert, we want to be the friends in property. And I know that's not my own saying, it's come from others. But being the friend in property forevermore is the important bit. The amount of messages, and unfortunately it doesn't always come through one source, but you get Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, all these different people come to you with their own methods and asking you questions. I love the fact I'm getting questions. I just wish they came in an email, because I'm better with my emails. But make yourself known to be there to assist. So training early mornings, and put yourself out there as an expert, and yeah, make yourself available to people. Be a friend in property.
And you know what's really interesting, Vicky, you know, said it last week. She found coming on and she, being out of her comfort zone. You know, you found going onto the, you know, stage in front of 1,000 people, being out of your comfort zone. But what you both did is you did it. You know, and that's what stands you out for, you know, being exceptional leaders in your business. Matt, you've been fantastic. Really grateful for your time. So thank you so much. I'm going to let you go in a second. So everybody, thanks very much for joining today. On Thursday, I'm going to be joined by Lauren Scott, who is the NAEA Property Mark President. So I'll be talking about Lauren, how Matt is now going to be soon to become a member, and looking forward to taking his exams as well.
Yep.
And if you're watching on replay, thanks very much for joining us. As I said, Matt kindly applied to be a mentor at Agents Together. So if you go to the Agents Together website and you're interested in mentoring or you want to be a mentee, please join, have a look at the hub and have a look at all the different resources on there to help you. And I look forward to seeing you on Thursday and have a really productive Tuesday. So thanks very much, everybody, and have a great afternoon.
Thanks, Stephen.